There is only one high school in Oklahoma that has an observatory, and it's been there since the early 1960s. It was built shortly after the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, and America realized it was not number one in the race to space. But over time, the years have taken a toll on the facility, and now a NASA astronaut who flew 4 missions in the space shuttle and her husband have stepped up to launch a fundraising campaign to bring the Enid High School's telescope and observatory into the 21st century.
For more than 50 years, students have had their first up-close look at the stars through the eyepiece of a telescope inside a real observatory atop Enid High School. Even though the dome still rotates and it sits on a very sound foundation, time has taken its toll, and the telescope is now old technology. Tim Gregg is a former graduate of Enid High School, and he's married to Dr. Nancy Currie-Gregg, a NASA astronaut who went into space aboard the space shuttle 4 times. They decided it was time to raise some money and bring the state's only high school observatory into the 21st century.
We've kind of taken it up as a cause to restore it to its former glory. And it's a real icon of the history of not only Oklahoma, but of our country and the space race.
Dr. Currie-Gregg is now the principal engineer for the NASA Engineering and Safety Center, an independent agency in charge of ensuring the safety of all of NASA's projects and missions.
Our vision for that facility is to improve the telescope to a state-of-the-art telescope capability, even one that would have pointing capability through the internet.
The Greggs are trying to raise $50,000 in private donations, and they've created a website to help: www.wewillfindstars.space.
That website name was selected not only that we will find stars through looking through the telescope, but we will find stars in the classrooms right here in Oklahoma.
Enid High School Principal Dudley Darrow says the real advancement the observatory needs is a major upgrade to the telescope.
What we're really shooting for is that we can get this digital to where our kids can be at home and access it. Our kids, I've got 2 elementary age kids. How cool would that be to be able to access that at home?
And since the telescope has to be used at night and when the weather cooperates, it limits the access students have. If it's online, students across the state could access that telescope.
If we raise this money now, how many kids come through Enid High School? We're going to graduate over 400 this year. In 2 years, we're going to have a graduating class over 500. And our population in Enid has grown. And so you think of the number of kids that we can impact their lives. I think it's worth it.
Evidence of erosion on Mars, so we're very sure there used to be liquid water.
Dusty Hugaboom teaches meteorology and astronomy.
When you get them up there and they look through that eyepiece and they're looking at the rings of Saturn, you get a lot of kids that just go, wow, that looks so cool, or I can't believe it looks like that.
And he's now seeing the impact the observatory has had on people going back decades.
I've been finding kids that are 60 years old now that have been coming back since we're doing the observatory saying, oh yeah, I still remember going up there and looking at all of this stuff. So I think it will stick with them forever.
The observatory's telescope has an 8-inch lens. Dusty Hugaboom says they need one twice that size.
Hopefully with the new technology, they'll be able to get great photographs. They'll also be able to do asteroid hunting, things like that. Who knows? We might discover a new comet, new asteroid. We can't do that with the old scope, but with the new one, there's even research opportunity out there.
And his students are ready for the challenge.
I think that it's amazing. It's very conducive to learning astronomy because, it's not just talking about it, but it's actually coming out and looking at it, and it's very hands-on whenever you have an observatory like this.
My dad took this when he was in high school, so I figured, might as well try it out. He's always shown me an interest in the stars and stuff like that, so I figured I would get into class.
I actually switched into it from biology because biology wasn't doing it for me, but astronomy, that's where it's at.
I liked meteorology a lot, and I always liked astronomy in elementary school, so I decided to take it.
The school is named the observatory after Dr. Nancy Currie-Gregg.
It's really great to be able to see that there's teachers out there just like that, inspiring today's students. And certainly up in Enid, Dusty Hugaboom, who's one of the astronomy teachers, he's that inspiration for the next generation.
Dr. Currie-Gregg says it was her teachers that inspired her and helped her get into college that led to 4 trips into space. Once they've hit their $50,000 goal and there's a new, larger internet-accessible telescope in the observatory, students of all ages statewide could get their first awe-inspiring peek into space.